Kristen Tsarnas is with us this evening, back by popular demand. For those of you who have been with us in previous seasons, Kristen has been a guest on our program. She is the just snazziest, most organized person I know, and I have used her guidance and help in my own home. And Kristen, welcome. I would love for you to introduce yourself. And you could tell us a little bit about your company, but also I'm just interested to know how you got it, into, you're so good at it. So maybe it's just a natural thing. What motivated you to get interested in home wellness and organization? So welcome. And I think I'll unpin myself and let you take it away.
Okay. Thank you, Liz, and welcome to everyone here. Thanks for inviting me back to speak with this group. I'm Kristen Tsarnas. I run a small business. It's called Home Wellness Consulting. I help my clients to declutter and organize their house or update a room with fresh colors or customized decor. I'm a professional organizer and a painter. And you can check out my work on my Facebook page, which is called Home Wellness Consulting. I'll show that again at the end. As far as why do I do this and how do I get into this? Well, I really love helping people feel good in their spaces. And I really enjoy helping my clients improve their quality of life through the many benefits of good aesthetics, which really just means the balance of visual harmony and simplicity and functionality. I'm going to share my screen now so you can see the presentation that I'm going to give you. Okay, Liz, is that looking good to you?
Yes, that looks great. And hopefully everybody can see. We're going to go, Kristen's going to walk us through with some slides. And as I mentioned, hang on to those questions and we'll be saving some time at the end.
Yep. Okay, so the subject of our session today is called Clearing the Obstacles to Clearing Your Space, Tips to Get Your Home Wellness Project Finally Started. My last talk was 3 years ago on the subject of letting go and making space, which was about clearing your mental, emotional, and physical burdens to make room for fresh energy and opportunities to enter your life. We covered why we need to let go of excess possessions and the benefits of clearing out old energy out of your spaces. So if you're new to this topic, I encourage you to navigate to the Westside Presbyterian YouTube channel and view that presentation. So today we're going to be talking about a related aspect of organizing your home, how to get around some very common obstacles to getting started. I'll give you some ideas to think about and a few useful tools excuse me, to begin getting your house in order. There will be time at the end for your questions, but if you have a burning question, feel free to put it in the chat and Liz will let me know. Okay, so how to start your organizing journey. So if you're attending this session, you're probably not the person who wakes up in the morning just looking so forward to decluttering and organizing your house. And maybe that person doesn't even exist in the wild. I don't know. But we all have moments where we procrastinate, we don't know where to begin. We feel sapped of energy just thinking about a project and what we should do. And then before long, that one project becomes a whole room, a whole floor of your house, the entire garage, and then it gets very overwhelming, like these photos. This is a closet, and you can see how cramped it is. So what I want you to remember, though, is that Rome wasn't built in a day, okay? And your decluttering project might not be completed in one day either, especially if the disorganization that you're facing exists in several rooms of your home. So I want to ask you, this is the audience participation part, what obstacles have you encountered to starting a home project in the past, whether it's organizing or design or repairing something, doing maintenance? What has really stopped you from getting started? If you can type your answer in the chat and Liz will tell me what's coming up there if anyone has any ideas. Is anyone admitting to getting started on a project?
Um,
Oh, yep, they
it
are.
feels too overwhelming, and I think I don't have the time. My parents' photographs, too overwhelmed is the word of the day. Also a feeling like, don't have the space, like don't know, I guess maybe don't know where to put things, that the job will just feels too big to even begin. Feeling paralyzed because I don't know where to start, overwhelmed, and I don't see an end to it. My husband does not want me touching his stuff. That's a big one. That's a big one.
I
Um,
think 3 years ago, someone said they didn't want to touch their adult children's stuff because they didn't want to get in trouble for throwing it out.
right, right. Come and get it, otherwise it's going. Yeah, trying to figure out what to do with useful stuff that I don't want.
Right.
Again, another, I don't know where to start.
Okay.
Okay,
All
so
right.
now I think
So
you have a sense of the
we get
room,
the idea, I
Kristen.
guess. Thank you for those, everyone. I think we're going to address a lot of those tonight. Okay, this is where we're going to start. Your motivation. What's your why? What this means, to get yourself motivated to start, you have to think about why you want an organized house or why you want to do the project. So here's, first of all, a reminder of the benefits of organizing. You can save money by not overbuying. You can make faster decisions because you don't have too many options to consider. You can save time because everything has a place and you always find it when you need it. Another reason is to be ready to share your home with others at any time. Sometimes when I walk into a client's home with an overwhelming kind of a mess, they feel so ashamed and embarrassed for me to see it. And I'm the professional that they hired to help fix it. Think of the shame that they feel when their mother-in-law drops in or when they want to schedule a play date for their children, but they don't want the other mom to see their house. These are unnecessary stresses that are relieved by having an organized home. So back to you. Maybe it's one of these reasons. Maybe you just want to be able to thoroughly clean your home without having to clean around your excess stuff. Whatever your reason is, try to make it personal and valuable to you. Take a moment now to think about your goals for your home life this year. Would you benefit by taking on a project? And why? Just think about it. And remember, let's not make it about external recognition, what other people might think of your home or you by extension of having the perfect home, perfect in quotes. Your why should be a true benefit to you. And once you have your why, you keep that in your mind throughout your project for motivation. Write it down, put a sign on the wall, remind yourself what that is. Okay. All right, so we talked about the why, but I find many of my clients get stuck on the why they should not. So let's address some of those obstacles. Obstacle number one, thinking you don't have enough. I don't have enough to make my house beautiful and organized. That could be time, money, childcare, help from your spouse, could be any of those things. My advice to you is to bloom where you're planted. Love what you do have. Unlock your gratitude for what you do have. Acknowledge your blessings and abundance, and then use your money wisely. Let's talk more about money. Scarcity leads to innovation, so be a wise steward of what you have. Let's say you don't like your kitchen. The counters are crowded with food items, spatulas, appliances. It's too dark. You don't like the backsplash tile. It's super outdated, but you really can't afford to gut the whole kitchen. All right. And add all the latest upgrades that you see in design magazines. So what can you do? Well, you can, for example, add under cabinet lighting or pantry cupboard lighting with those stick-on puck lights. They look like hockey pucks. They come at Home Depot. They cost only a few dollars for a 2-pack. You can buy organizing containers from the dollar store, or Dollar Tree has $1.25 acrylic containers, or IKEA or Aldi. Or just grab the old shoe boxes that you were saving. You don't need to buy everything at the container store and costs, so much money. Another idea, apply peel and stick wallpaper to jazz up a wall or as a kitchen backsplash. You need a storage cabinet in the living room. Maybe you thrift one from the Habitat Restore. You want a new sectional sofa, which cost $10,000 at Restoration Hardware. I'm not joking. Find a less expensive furniture store and reverse engineer what you see that you like. So you use the expensive piece as an inspiration, and then you look for something similar in color, or you buy similar throw pillows from Home Goods. All right? You consider the problem a challenge or an invitation to figure out an affordable alternative. Let's say you feel you don't have enough time. You can do what this professional organizer, Ashley of Freedom Moms, does. She calls them tiny tasks. This is Ashley, okay? And she has this program called the 361 Tiny Tasks, and they're each these little things you do around the house that take 3 minutes or less. You're not gonna really be able to read this, but this is the beginnings of the list, and it goes room by room. Wipe down the counter, put away the dishes, sweep the floor, empty the trash. Each one is its own tiny task. Okay. And you can print that off her website. I'll give you the website again at the end. And it's good for every room in the house. So for example, you don't have time to declutter and clean your whole bathroom, let's say. So what you do, you open up the medicine cabinet, you throw out the expired medicines and cosmetics, you use a Lysol wipe on the sink and on the toilet, and it's a quick improvement, and it counts as 3 tiny tasks according to Ashley, and she's a professional. Okay, so you've integrated that task into your daily flow of life. You don't take away the time to do other things and just clean. And not every cleaning session has to be the 6-day spring cleaning. Remember that. And since it's flu season, I'm going to mention one more tiny task. Grab 2 Lysol wipes, one in each hand, and walk around wiping the doorknobs of your house. You'll thank me later. What if you think you don't have enough help? Well, you engage your friends to babysit, or ask your parents to take your child out to breakfast on a Saturday morning to give yourself a few hours to get some things done. You could ask your spouse for small windows of their time to help you. Or you can hire an organizer, that extra pair of hands that you need, that'll give you just enough support to get you rolling. Obstacle number 2 is maybe I don't know enough. So before you didn't have enough something, now you don't know enough. Okay, there isn't as big a disparity as you might think between what you know and what you want to know about home organization and decoration. It's not rocket science, first of all, but you don't need to strive for perfection. You may very well not know enough to create a home that you could post pictures of on Instagram, okay? But don't tell yourself if it can't be perfect, then I'm not going to do it at all. Perfectionism is just fear dressed in a mink coat. That's a quote from the author of Eat, Pray, Love, Elizabeth Gilbert. Try to avoid imposter syndrome. I don't know if you've heard of that, but that's when people shame themselves for not being an expert in something. It's the fear that someone's going to call you out, that you don't know what you're doing. Well, don't get tangled up in your head. Just get started somewhere. And the antidote to that fear is action. You know enough to start for 20 minutes, to take one step forward in the project. And lastly, it doesn't need to be all done to be good enough. Obstacle number 3. Now, this one might strike an emotional note for some of us, probably all of us, thinking I am not enough. I'm sure we've all been there at some point, but don't let this prevent you, from starting your project. Doing more doesn't make you better than anyone else. It just makes you tired. You're already worthy. Women especially see themselves as an external, see their home as an external expression of their self-worth. Think about that for a second. But how organized your house is not a marker of your worth. It's just not. A person on a journey is beautiful and motivates other people. Yes, that could be you. And you just want to do what you can do for today. Take it one day at a time. It's good advice for a lot of things. There's no prize for finishing life, making your house perfect. In fact, if you do have the perfect house, A, people dislike you. And B, it's on the verge of breaking down by definition, because perfection is unattainable and unsustainable. Okay, so why not you? You're enough. I'm going to talk about some strategies to start the project. Okay, let's assume we're over those other obstacles. Remind yourself of your motivation and your why and keep it visible. Remind yourself, why not me, right? You have enough, you know enough, you are enough. Start small to build your skills and confidence. You might try setting a schedule of organizing for 10 minutes, maybe twice a week, whatever your lucky number is. Put it in your calendar, make it important. Treat it like it's an appointment with your doctor or your financial advisor. Prepare yourself to properly declutter, okay, and organize. One of the things you could do is get some bags and boxes ready when you're in the room you're going to start decluttering. And you can use these signs or something similar to label your bags and boxes so you don't get confused while you're decluttering. These particular ones are from Laura of Get Organized HQ. She has 4 signs, and you can create your own handwritten signs. That's good enough. But here they are from her. You can download them. There's the trash bin. There's the what am I going to keep? This is something that you want to keep, but you want to place it in another room or move it to storage. You don't want to get rid of it, but you don't want to move it right then to the other room. You don't want to waste time going to another space. Another sign that she has is donate. Obviously, that's a great one, and I use that with the majority of my clients. And then another labeled container might be for returns. This is returns to people, returns to the store. It could be library books, whatever. Just get your space organized and set up with those 4 categories. And maybe there are others, you might have something else. And then you can start the decluttering project. But right before you do, make sure you eat a high protein snack or a meal before you start. Prepare a large water bottle or a cup of tea to bring to your work area so you don't get thirsty and leave the room, to go get distracted in the kitchen. All right, raise your hand. I can see you. Raise your hand if you leave a room and then come back hours later to realize you completely forgot what you were doing in there. Thank you for your honesty, because I do that all the time. Okay, so when you're about to organize, bring your tea, bring your water, bring your snack, your chocolate, and your labeled signs into the room you're working in so you don't have to leave. And then put on some energetic music that you love and dance around while you organize, and that counts as cardio. Okay, here are a couple more ideas. You can consider starting on an easier project. Let's say you want to organize that photo collection that someone mentioned at the beginning, but that's 13 boxes of stuff in the basement. It's mixed in with your child's 5-year-old artworks and your middle school yearbook. Okay, no. Don't begin with a giant box of sentimental photos and keepsakes. We talked about this at my last session 3 years ago. You don't want to start there. There's too much emotion packed into those kind of items, and it's too much too soon. You need to build the muscle of letting go before you try the heavy lifting. Instead, take something slightly easier. Think about your kitchen pantry. Yes, it might be really messy and crammed full of stuff. If you were to start small, though, by sorting through it, throwing out the expired food, then donate all the foods that you no longer like, that would be a nice accomplishment for an afternoon. You then have the confidence to come back the next day, wipe down the shelves, put the food back in the categories that you want, and kind of reorganize it. Or not, but at least you've made some small amount of progress. So start small, do the work in stages, and build up to tackling a more difficult project. Has anyone ever had the experience, hopefully a successful experience, of organizing something on a small scale, like a kitchen drawer, let's say. And how did you feel? What's one small project that you remember? If you want to, you can type it into the chat and Liz will tell us what you did. What's something small that you started that really worked? And I hope you patted yourself on the back for this. Did you keep going after that? Did you build off that accomplishment? And could you build off of that accomplishment now? Any responses, Liz?
I said I felt great because I cleaned out the entire utility drawer in the kitchen and I found the lemon zester. And while I was at it, I vacuumed it out and I reorganized. And it did not take more than 10 or 15 minutes. And I'm so happy every time I open the drawer now. It's still good.
Right.
Organizing
There's
the
always like weird
closet.
crumbs in those kitchen drawers too. And you're like, why did that even, how did that
Yeah,
get there?
where'd those crumbs come from? Another kitchen vote for the kitchen junk drawer, organizing the closet underneath the bathroom sink, the bathroom cabinet. Yeah, sometimes those jobs are so rewarding because you're looking at them every day and they don't take as long as you think they were going to.
Yes.
Reorganized my pantry and I stopped after that, but I was happy about it. Very good.
Great. Perfect.
Oh, organized one shelf in the medicine chest. That's a great vote for just
Good
starting
enough.
small.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
good
enough.
enough.
Exactly. And I'll give you another idea that I just thought of just now, which I'm going to do tomorrow, is look underneath your bed, right? Pull everything out, vacuum everything that's vacuum under there, and then put it back or get rid of that stuff or change out your winter clothes into the containers you've got under there, whatever. It's something small, but it'll feel like, ooh, okay, I've done it. All right, let's say you're still stuck. How are you going to get started? You have to go back to your motivation and to get really serious about it. Okay. You might tell a friend what you're planning to do to keep you accountable. You want to keep the commitment that you're making to yourself. All right. And then this point is really important. You have to retrain your brain that perfection is not your end goal. You have to forgive yourself for the mess and get started somewhere. To make progress, you have to make your spaces better, not perfect. Okay. This is a great book to read. This one is called Organized Enough. I'll tell it on the last slide too, so if you don't have to write it down now. Organized Enough by Amanda Sullivan. It's a great thing to help you get started. She recommends starting your project where you can make a visual impact quickly and says that once you get that first rush of throwing something in the garbage, it'll only get easier because you get that immediate visual payoff. Now, if you happen to be stuck on the you are not enough obstacle, I wanted to mention that this could be coming from a mindset of wanting to please people. Okay, you might feel like you're disappointing people because you can't do it all. You can't make everyone happy all the time. But I would just say, just be who you are. And remember, it's your home project, and that project is for you. And you're enough to get it done, or at least to get it started. Another idea for this obstacle, though, could be to use an app called the Insight Timer. It's really for meditation and yoga, but I've used it myself, and you can search through it to find a guided visualization that you can do about replacing negative thinking with positivity and acceptance and an anticipation of success. And that goes a long way. Okay, you talk to yourself like you would talk to a friend, non-judgmentally, or from an educational perspective, like you would talk to a student. That also goes a very long way. Another idea is to call me for support and encouragement and maybe a helping hand, because sometimes that is necessary at the start to overcome this overwhelm that many of us reported at the beginning of this session. It also could be necessary because of physical limitations that you might have, or you just prefer to work with a teammate. There's absolutely no shame in asking for help because oftentimes you just need a boost from a collaborator and then you can run with it. And that has happened to so many of my clients. I get all excited because someone shows me their home and they have 4 rooms that are messy and they want me to come over and help them with each room in turn. And I'll go and I'll help them with the first room. And then 2 weeks later, they say, I don't need you to come back. I've got this. I got started on my own. After you came, I got a completely different view of everything and I went forward by myself. Not great for my business, but I'm grateful that they have learned how to get started and got motivated and are on a roll. So that's really great. Okay, I'm going to show you 2 examples of some satisfying but small organization projects that I've helped clients with. This is for inspiration to help you get started on your project. So the first one here is a mudroom that was in Franklin Lakes. The person was just completely overwhelmed, didn't know where to start. The picture on the left is the before picture. And I think we actually had cleaned up some of the stuff that was on the floor before we took this picture. But we took everything out onto the floor. We threw out old things and trash, stuff that had accumulated in those drawers. We donated a bunch of extra sports equipment. We reorganized everything back into one cubby per family member, which is what you see on the right-hand side of the picture. And we set up a rule that said, you can't put anything in anybody else's cubby, and you can't just leave your stuff on the floor. So that really helped them out quite a bit. And it's a very small project that only took maybe an hour and a half to pull everything out. I mean, we literally opened every drawer and every cupboard that you see there and every basket. But it only took a little bit of time. Really wasn't that bad. The next project I'll show you was a client's closet in Saddle River. You can see there were clothes on the left in the before picture. There were clothes on the lying on the shelf. Some of them had tags on them. There were bags of new clothes and purses and shoes on the floor. There was no clear space or categories for any of their items. It was all just a mishmash. So we pulled everything down, we cleaned the shelves, we reorganized everything and put like things with like. Okay, that's a key to organizing your home in any size space, is to put things into categories and put things together. And it looks very nice. It's very nice to look at, and it's so much easier to find things now. So that's the picture on the right-hand side. Okay, so if you want to learn more, you can check me out on my Facebook page or my Instagram, or go to my website, which is homewellnessconsulting.com. Okay, or you can give me a call. My number is 201-214-6674. And then on this right-hand side of this slide, I've put the 3 resources that I mentioned: the Tiny Task Checklist from freedommoms.com, the sorting signs from the Get Organized HQ, and then that book called Organized Enough by Amanda Sullivan. Okay, and my email address is there as well. It's Kristen@homewellnessconsulting.com. Feel free to reach out. Tell me you saw me on this session. Be happy to help you with any of your spaces and help you get started too. And I just want to thank Liz and for the privilege, and everyone here for the privilege of presenting my work to this community. I hope you enjoyed this and you gained some new ideas. And now I guess I'll toss it back to you, Liz, and you let me know if there are questions or comments. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Friends, if you have questions or things that you would like to know personally, you can pop those in the chat or send them to me directly, or you can unmute yourself. And after you've had time to look at the slide, maybe Kristen will even stop this. You want to stop the screen share so that we can,
Sure.
yeah, there we go. Because one of the questions that came up, and I know several people had said that and were asking, is about like the photographs or other things that have real sentimental value. We don't know that anybody wants them. We're not using them, but we can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
And any thoughts on that?
Well, that is literally the hardest question that you're starting with. So
Oh,
if I can even answer this, I feel like we should just end the whole thing right there after that.
yeah.
This is a problem for pretty much every single family that I've worked with, including my own family. There's usually one person in the family that's sort of the historian of the family, and you have to search out who that is. Who's the person who's really sentimental, who wants to track a genealogy, who wants to look at all these pictures? Because honestly, if you're not that person, and you have a pile of pictures that are your grandparents' box of pictures that they passed down to you, you're not going to look at them. Even if you do, they may be entertaining from like a historical perspective, like, wow, look at grandpa on that tractor with with the cows or something like that. I don't know. That's what my family's from, farming. So that's what I have in my pictures. Um, if if you're not gonna like get any value out of that, and you don't even know who the people are in the pictures, it's kind of, you just keep a few things that are maybe interesting to you. Um, these are from the 30s, these are from the 1940s, these are maybe from the 50s. Keep 5 pictures, maybe. If you don't know who the people are, there's really nothing you could do with them anyway. So I would say you kind of have to just let those go and get rid of
Mm,
them. Unless you have someone in your family who's the historian and wants to take them on. Otherwise, everyone's got the same boxes of pictures in their basement and they're not using them. And it's just crowding your space.
mm,
So it's a hard thing to do, but if you're not going to really use them and your kids don't want them, then I'd say keep a couple of ones that are interesting visually to you, and then I
mhm,
pass them along. One thing that I'm going to do with my pictures, because of course I still have this project that I have to do, all my photos are organized. I have them all by dates. So I know I have books and books, they're all organized. So that's not the problem. But what I want to do is I realize I have just too many duplicates. Remember the days when you would get them printed at Walgreens and they'd give you double prints? We
mhm,
all have double prints from like the 90s or whatever. Go through them. Get rid of all the double prints. Then go through a second time. Get rid of the ones that are repeat pictures or 2 pictures of the same couple of people. Save only a few. And then what I'm going to do with mine is I'm going to put those into the genealogy books. So I am the historian for my family. I got this gene from my Aunt Patricia, and she
mhm.
passed me down all her genealogy books, which she was super into. So I know my family tree many, many generations back. And I have a lot of pictures that are labeled, and I do know who they are. So I'm going to integrate those into my genealogy books. But that's a project for like a very rainy day, you know. But I would say to most people, try to pare it down. If you can't identify somebody historically that's into this history in your family, you're going to have to just
Mm,
let it go.
okay, gonna have to let it go.
Sorry.
Thank you for answering that. There is a question, two good questions here. One, I have very small closets. Is there any ideas about how to use them most efficiently? Somebody is asking.
Okay, that sounds like something we need to take a look at and see what has to go in that closet versus how much space you have and kind of measure it out. There are so many different types of organization systems and containers and different shelving units. There's so many things. So that's one of those items where you kind of need to see it in person and figure it out. So I would encourage that person, to reach out to me and maybe we can discuss that further.
Hmm, okay. Yeah, there are ways, different kinds of, if it's clothing, there's ways to hang it that take less room. Yeah, I have seen that.
Exactly.
Even poles that you can make two-tiered things. I've
Yep.
seen people do that. This question is about what are your thoughts on organizing via Roy G. Biv? I guess the color.
Oh, I love it. The rainbow.
Yeah. And
I
I'm
love
assuming
it.
the person who asked that means like your clothing in your closet. Betty, are you, is that what you
Is that what
meant?
you mean, Betty?
Oh, so I'm this is Betty's daughter, Kim. I'm with Betty, but I mean
Oh,
anything. books. I've done it in my
Oh,
medicine cabinet. I've done it with my food. Is that
Oh,
crazy? Like OCD, or is that a really good way to organize?
no, no, that's not OCD. It's about giving yourself aesthetic pleasure. I don't know what the scientific studies are, but there's a woman who I follow online and she's written books about joy. Her name is Ingrid Fattel Lee. I
oh
think you
yeah,
would absolutely love her
I've heard
book.
of her.
She talks about putting things in rainbow order, and she's also sort of a data person. And she talks about these scientific studies that prove that putting things in order of rainbow colors is extremely pleasing to the eye and very settling because you know what's coming up next, right? When you see something
Mm,
red, you know the orange is going to be right next to it, and then the yellow is right next to that. And it's just, you open up your closet and you're going, I'm wearing blue pants. I need a light blue top to go with it. And you go right to the blue section. It's so efficient and it's pleasing. So I love the idea.
okay, efficient and pleasing. So, another question about how to, any thoughts, quick suggestions on downsizing because of retirement or any kind of move, I would
Yes.
imagine, but,
Yes, I do help some of my clients do that. It really depends on the person and where they live now and where they're moving to. Um, so I've actually done a couple of projects that are related to my volunteer work, which I'm an end-of-life doula. I work with a hospice organization. Um, and I've worked with some people who are downsizing. And what we do is we come up with what I call a legacy project. And that is to take some of their prized photos and possessions and figure out where in their new environment to display them and to store them. And obviously, it's like what we talked about before. You really have to pare it down because when you're downsizing to something smaller, you're not going to have room for every single thing. Um, but I usually go around and I look at the pictures that people are displaying in their living room or in their bedroom, or maybe they're hanging their wedding picture on the wall or something. And I take the most important pictures, or if they're a person who has trophies or something, just take a few of the representative trophies and find a way to display them in their new living room or in their new bedroom so that they can see all these important things that are around. What that does for someone who is maybe elderly, if they have people coming to visit them, when the visitors come, the visitors can comment on the things that are the most important to their loved one.
mhm, mhm.
So they're in the room and they said, "Oh, Auntie, I see that you've got this photo album from your wedding anniversary party that we did in 1992. Let's look at that together." And you flip the pages and you can have a chat with your auntie about that. And it's a very heartwarming way to hold on to a couple of things without transitioning all your stuff into the new environment.
Okay, so it's really a question of you going through and trying to prioritize what feels really meaningful and important. It sounds
Yes.
like,
I mean, I'm
yeah,
assuming that's what the person is asking about. I mean, of course, there's clothing has to be downsized, furniture has to be downsized, all of that too. Um,
yeah.
Contents of the garage, if you're a handyman and you love your tool, your tool shed, all that stuff has to get decluttered and donated and fit into the new space.
Mhm. Now, do you have favorite places that you suggest for donations? Because a couple of the questions related to being blessed with legacy hand-me-downs that you don't want, but that they're items that somebody else really might have use for, might enjoy having. Some of them are valuable
Yeah.
beyond sentimentality.
Well, I like using, for furniture, I like using Habitat Restore, and there's one in Westwood, New Jersey. You call them up and you say, I have this, this, and this. And they're very picky though, so they don't take everything, but they'll take construction equipment, like, or not equipment, but construction items. Like if you have tile that's left over from a project, if you have a certain amount of square footage of the tile, they'll take it and sell it. If you have an old couch that's not ancient, but it's still in good shape, they'll take it and they'll come and pick that up at your house. The other one I like, if you have smaller things, um, like clothes and knickknacks and books, you can use the Vietnam Veterans Organization. That's, if you go to pickupplease.org. You can schedule a pickup from the Vietnam vets. They come to the porch, to the garage, to whatever, your front door, and they pick up everything that you put out there and give you a receipt for it. So you can claim that on your taxes if you like. So that's a great one I use all the time. And then one of our members of this community actually was talking to me about a couple of other options. There's Grace Church apparently has a clothing collection that they're doing for people in Patterson. And also there's a consignment shop, I guess, in Midland Park, which I haven't been to in a long time. I guess, yeah, thank you, the community thrift shop.
Well, there's the community thrift shop in Midland Park. There's also the gingerbread kids
Yeah,
that
gingerbread,
make women's
consignment.
clothes. That's consignment. And
And then
there
there's the
is,
red, white, and blue big thrift shop in Patterson,
yep.
right? There's a bunch of places. There's a lot of places you can give things, but if you don't want to have to leave your house, the Vietnam Vets is a great one because they'll come and get it.
Yeah, and the Archer Thrift Store in Allendale,
Yeah.
they take, and they will take bric-a-brac and clothing, and they're not as picky as like the consignment store.
Yeah.
Ditto in North Haledon. Okay. Goodwill, of course. There are a variety of locations, although our closest one I think closed, but
Yeah, the one on Route 17 closed.
but
But still, the red, white, and blue thrift shop is not that far.
yeah, and there's also a place to drop things off, clothing off behind Cornerstone Church, which goes to I forgot. It's called something Heart Ministry, but anyway, yeah.
Yes, and also there's a place if you need to get rid of a couple of bags of old clothes and shoes or something in Waldwick. I don't know if that's a Walgreens or a Rite Aid, but in their parking lot, right at the
Oh, yeah.
at the center of town, there are a couple of bins, and you can go and you pull the bin and you put your stuff in there. You can't get a receipt for dropping it off there, but you can, if you need to clear out, that's a great option.
Yeah.
Hi,
Oh my goodness.
Liz.
Yes.
I was
Oh,
going
yes.
to
Dorothy,
another
yes.
place. And thank you, Kristen. I'm going to put a plug in for you. Kristen,
Thanks,
tell
Dorothy.
me, I had a big flood. I had 400 art books all piled up from the flood after they did renovation. And Kristen and I spent 2 sessions putting them all back, and it was wonderful. You can see some of it behind me. But anyway, I want to say for books, if you need to get rid of the college club has at Somerville School in Ridgewood, you can drop books off there on a particular schedule. I don't remember what day of the week it is, but it's a great source. When we downsized, we took boxes and boxes of books there, and they resell them, and it's for the college club, and they do good work. So, thank you.
Thank you, Dorothy.
This is Irene. I have a question. I know that the session was recorded, and one of the ladies who told me about this wasn't able to be here. And so how does one get a copy of the recording, or if we wanted to listen to it again? Liz, you're muted.
Sorry about that. We have a YouTube channel which you can access on our website, www.westside.org/wellness.
Okay.
And it'll say watch, rewatch programs. And if you can, because Kristen did a program a couple of years ago. And so it's kind of like part 1 and part 2 you can watch. So you just go onto our wellness page and you can hop on to the YouTube channel and watch the programs. This has to get edited and it takes a couple of days to turn around, but then it'll be there.
Great.
So, yeah.
Thank you. I will let her know
Okay.
if I can get back. Oh,
yeah. Okay. So any other questions? I'm just quickly looking through. There's the National Council of Jewish Women Thrift Shop in Bergenfield. Thank you, Eleanor. See, now that's something I didn't know about, and I'd love to do that. And somebody also mentioned that there's a likelihood of donations being collected for Florida and North Carolina hurricane victims, more than likely. So some of it's just good old Google, probably Googling around and asking. But I agree with Kristen. Sometimes the easiest thing to do, because you're not going to drive around. Raise your hand if you drive around for 6 months with the stuff in the back of your car.
No.
I'm admitting it. We're admitting. I'm confessing.
That's why you arrange for the Vietnam vets to come and get it out of your life.
That's what I was going to say. I honestly feel like I know it's going to go to a good cause, and I just had to put it on my front porch, and then I get the ticket and I can submit it to my accountant, and everybody wins. Because I honestly think that, I don't want to add to your wisdom, but I feel like if you make things easy, you will do them. It's like going to the gym. If it becomes too complicated to get there, you're never going to go.
Right.
And so I really just, think, and it is what you said. It's starting small, doing a small project and being happy about that and seeing how glad the clean drawer
And
makes you
kind
feel.
of reminding yourself that that
Yes.
is maybe enough for today, for the week, for the month, whatever.
Yeah.
You don't have to strive for perfection.
Exactly. But nor should you drive around with those bags of things for 6 months. Either. Okay.
Thank you for your honesty.
Yeah, there you go.
I had a question.
Yes.
Kristen, how much do you charge for your visits?
Oh, I think we could take that offline if you don't mind. I would love to talk to you about that separately. So maybe you can give me a call.
Absolutely, thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. The thing I think was nice that you said, I mean, and I know it might not be a great business model, but it really is. And I have worked with you in that kind of capacity where I just needed a kickstart, and I actually needed your eye to say this could go here and this can go there, and it's going to make your life a lot easier. And I hadn't even thought of it. And then it makes the flow of things, and I'm more likely to put things away because I have a place for it. And then I know where it is because I'm always putting it back there. And then I always know where it is when I want it. And
Right. And you've been converted and you didn't need me to come back a second time.
Yeah. Now we can just go have tea or something. Okay. Any other, while we have Kristen here, any other tidbits of things that you would like to ask? Okay.
Okay, great.
Well, thank you so much for being with us this evening, and for hopefully, friends, I hope you felt like you maybe got a little bit of encouragement to kickstart your project. A couple of great websites that you also had recommended, and happy decluttering, everybody.